Welcome to Lost on Ice, a show about the show 20 years later. Today we're talking about Season 1, Episodes 6, 7, 8, and 9. You can watch full video episodes of the podcast on YouTube. Ben and I also release a bonus hangout show every week that can be found at patreon.com/drskeleton. What's going on, Ben?
Not much. Just watching every episode of Lost again. It's really weighing on me to have to watch 161 episodes every single week. The same 161 episodes every single week, since that's what we're doing, right?
That's
what we're
duty.
both doing.
That's your duty. That's what we're both doing. Yep. Obviously, it's been a huge weekend for me, but how has your week been?
It's primarily been watching Lost, like all of my weeks, but it's been good. I gotta say, as usual, when I sit down and I watch Lost, I think to myself, it's sort of like I contemplate in prayer to myself, and I say, thank goodness my life is not like the life of the people on the island of Lost. We don't really have a name for the island at this point, so that's what it is in my mind. They're just on the island of Lost.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm not there.
My wife's been getting very into Survivor recently. And I got to say, though, compared to Survivor, Lost seems totally fine.
Sure.
Like, it seems way easier than Survivor. And so, like, I keep watching it, and it's like, oh, they seem like they're clean. They have new clothes every episode. That would be the thing that gets to me. It's like, you just feel like sweaty and nasty all the time. But they have like fresh, clean clothes, and they kind of like figured out like the food situation, and there's this kind of just like happening in the background that, yeah, John Locke's taking care of that. We never see what their sleeping arrangement is really like, so it's just kind of like it's probably everyone is just sleeping fine for the most part, it seems. And although. Was it this episode or the week before that like they're like, oh, Jack, it looks like you haven't slept.
Yeah,
you look awful. I think it was last week. But yeah, it seems to be like pretty easy. No one's like dealing with like bug bites or whatever. Like it seems like there's the one guy who had like hives this week, but they're like he's a hypochondriac. He can't possibly be experiencing like probably like a weird rash on
Excuse me, sir,
strange island.
You're a background character. You gotta shut the fuck up about this. You're probably not gonna get a flashback, based on how things have been going. You're not gonna get your own episodes, so just go away, please.
Yeah, you can die for all I care.
Yeah.
You little piece of crap. Yeah.
Your background to this is you were on vacation in Australia, so probably, most likely, you were just a guy on vacation, so yeah.
Did you see big Lost adjacent news this week? Did you see that crazy plane crash in Brazil?
Yeah, that was sad.
Very sad. Crazy though. Like the footage of
when
it,
I
that's
saw
so
it,
scary.
When I saw it,
falling out of the sky, straight up, like breaking the physics. It
really does look like
bad.
A video game or like a AI generated thing. I had to check.
Oh no!
Like I've heard.
Do you think is that a conspiracy theory now?
I don't know, but I guess that's what a flat spin is. I mean, if you are like. If you're listening to this and you're like me 5 days ago, whenever I first heard this and my entire life up until that point, when people say flat spin, I just kind of thought that was like a technical term, but a plane is probably still just like accelerating forward, falling slowly out of the sky. This looked like, video game, you spawned a plane like a mile up, and it's just
with zero momentum,
like oddly slowly. I mean, I guess it is like it's not oddly slowly. It's just weird to see because that's just how physics work. But it's like weird to see it.
Yeah.
In addition to being very scary and very sad. But yeah. They don't really establish how the plane. I mean, I guess they kind of do. It doesn't seem like they're in a flat spin, like this Brazil thing. But so I just assume in Lost that the plane was still kind of accelerating forward, just going down.
It just kind of rips apart.
It does rip apart.
Well, it hits major turbulence, and then like the front half, the back half, just like, I don't know if it's halves, but the pieces. There's like front pieces, back pieces. They're like, Jack was telling Rose the other episode, like, anyone in the back probably died because they didn't make it to the island or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, huge weekend for me, obviously. The 4 episodes we watched this week continued to give us more backstory on our main cast. We get flashbacks that fill out some of the backgrounds for Sun and her husband Jin, Charlie, Sawyer, and Sayid. The mystery of the island grows as we learn more about what else is going on there and what has happened before the crash of Flight 815. This was a good stretch of episodes, I thought. I'm really liking the mystery of the island. I'm enjoying the backstories of the characters, and it's cool to see how they're coming to grips with the situation. One thing I am not enjoying, though, Ben, is this will they, won't they between Kate and Jack. Jack has zero swag, and I don't buy the relationship. It's annoying. I feel like I'm like 10 years old watching it. I'm like, ew, stop! Don't show the romance. Get to the lightsaber fights.
It's annoying. I don't like Jack. I feel like
are we supposed to like him, or is it?
I think you're supposed to, but I don't know. It's just difficult to see. Like, I feel like if I was a 15-year-old, like a 12 to 15-year-old, something like that, I'd be like, Jack is cool. Jack is who I want to be. If I was in a plane crash, I would be Jack.
You think so?
I'd be the doctor that's smart and everybody looks to him or whatever. Now I'm like, damn, if I was on this plane, I'd be, anti-Jack. I'm running against Jack in the next island election or whatever. Get out of here.
The anti-Jack. Yep. So the first episode that we're talking about today is season 1, episode 6, House of the Rising Sun. This is directed by Michael Zinberg, air date October 27th, 2004. Ben, you were saying last week that the song House of the Rising Sun is about Japan.
I was not saying that. Well, I guess
you were
implied that at first, and then but I very quickly backed away from it. Just saying what's on my mind, folks.
That's such a good defense. I was just saying what I thought,
and then quickly back. There's getting the idea out there, and then thinking to myself, as you're also thinking to yourself, that doesn't sound right.
Sure. Sometimes you got to bounce ideas off yourself. Yeah.
I'm being open with the rest of the world, our listeners.
I did a very open-ended, charitable deep dive on that song to see if is there any way that it's about Japan somehow, and it's just for sure not.
Yeah, I mean, okay, whatever. Yeah. There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun.
They don't say
right?
New Orleans. They don't specify New Orleans, Louisiana. It could be New Orleans, Japan.
Well, the house could be one of those American Japanese friendship houses or something like that. It's it could be a Japanese style house.
You're doubling down. Great. All right, there you go. But this episode is not about New Orleans nor Japan whatsoever. Walt and the others are shocked when Michael is brutally beaten, but only Jin and Sun know the truth about the attack. Kate, Jack, Sawyer, and Sayid argue about where the survivors should set up their camp. So yeah, this is mostly about Sun, this episode.
Yeah.
And we see flashbacks that show Sun and Jin's backstory. And we see Jin, he has the, he has the charm. He's got the charisma. He's got the juice early on. He's pulls some very romantic moves early on.
Jin is
in the relationship.
it's established that Well, okay, let's back up a little bit. If you are also like Hurley in the year 2004 and you haven't yet been able to identify that Jin and Sun are Korean, when they flash...
Even after being told they're Korean.
Yes. When they flash to their backstory, Jin's or Sun's backstory, it opens on the most generically Asian setting in the entire universe, where you probably, again, Hurley style individual watching this in 2004, you're like, well, this hasn't cleared up anything for me, because you see Sun in like a nice dinner dress, and Jin is clearly like a waiter, like wait staff, at like a grand gala in front of a very generic pagoda that could be Korean, it could probably be Chinese, it could definitely be Japanese as well.
Yeah, it's on the ABC backlot that they use for like every network show that they're shooting. Yeah,
it could it could be for a show that is a period drama from the year 900. It could be from today. They're not. Sorry, but J.J. Abrams and co. are not giving a lot of. They're not giving a lot of specific kind of Korean charm to this, unfortunately. But it's you get the idea that Sun is probably wealthy. She's an original crazy rich Asian, and Jin is a waiter style dude, wait staff style dude. But they are in love.
Yep, they're in love. Sun wishes to run away together to America, but Jin insists that they do things the honorable way, and asks her father's permission, and ends up working for him in the deal. And it's like, you can marry my daughter. We don't ever see, or we haven't seen Sun's father, but the deal seems to be that Jin and Sun can get married, but Jin has to work for him. The relationship starts to deteriorate. We see flashbacks throughout the episode as Jin gets deeper and deeper into whatever kind of presumably criminal enterprise Sun's father runs.
Yeah. Another very generic stereotype that, yes, maybe you don't know anything about Korea, but you probably know about Yakuzas, and so we're just going to give the general vibe that
I don't
Sun's
know.
That is exactly what they do. They give the vibe that Sun's father is a Yakuza guy, and now Jin has become Yakuza.
Just generally criminal. I'm not saying you're.
They do a lot of. He comes back bloodied.
Maybe that's just how they do it. Like the guy who's like being progressive. That's just
the thing. It's
that's
normal.
Just them.
It's just normal.
Yeah.
I just want to call it out now that because it won't fit in anywhere else. Shelley clocked this very well. I kind of got the general vibe, but I wasn't able to put it to words. And then Shelley immediately clocked it. That I don't think that this is supposed to be what's happening in universe, but it's very clear that Jin and Sun are living out of a hotel, because when
Zoe called that too.
Yeah. There are vents. There are very industrial vents on the wall.
The hair dryer that's like hanging
hotel
on the wall.
Hair dryer. Yeah. The most stereotypical hotel.
I mean,
hair
that was a little bit me. It was like, maybe this is how it is in Korea. I don't know.
They just live in hotels. Yeah.
But like they don't, right? That's their apartment. Like we see, it's like, or they're in that hotel for many years. We see that same hotel like over the course, and like the interior decorator comes. I think they just maybe. Oh yeah, you caveated this by saying that's not what's happening in universe. But yeah.
I think they just shot it in a hotel room.
They filmed it in a hotel room.
Because I tried to pitch that to Shelley too. I was like, well, maybe they're like one of those rich people that just lives out of a hotel. And then she's like, yeah, but when you see like outside, it's supposed to be like their house. They keep calling it their apartment. Like they're in a hotel. They've got a crappy hotel.
They're definitely filming in the hotel. The hair dryer was very funny. Yeah. Yeah, but so Sun plots to escape the marriage,
and there's like no overhead lights either, which is another classic. hotel move.
I don't have overhead lights here in my house. I hate overhead lights.
Really?
That's no good.
You don't have like a fan or any. You only have standing lights.
Yeah. Well,
you're in a blue box.
There's probably I'm trying to think. I don't use them. I don't ever turn them on if they are. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the past,
I hate overhead
in the
lights.
past, I mean, this, I feel I will stand by my clocking of this. That is a very hotel thing. No overhead lights.
I think that good on hotels. Good job. Don't have overhead lighting. It would feel like a hospital if you did.
Well, they do it so you can't hang yourself. That's why they do it.
How do you hang yourself from a can light? Subscribe to the Patreon for tips. Sun plots to escape the marriage, but changes her mind at the last minute when Jin shows a loving gesture moments before boarding 8:15. He brings out the flower, or a flower. He buys her a single flower like he did at the beginning of the relationship. It's a pretty tragic story. Yeah, like Jin is controlling and angry and things like that, and Sun has her escape, but
in his defense, he's in this weird situation of being, an underclass.
Very defensive of Jin.
Don't put it that way.
I'm
very defensive of Sun.
I'm going to put it that way. I'm all right. Like pausing pausing Netflix to be like, is this guy bothering you anytime he's on the screen? No, like earlier episode, we don't need to get into this, but you were like, the only thing we knew about the couple was that like Jin is like screaming at her, and Bez's like, it's the traditional like Korean couple. Like
I did not say that.
Yes, that's
just listen to the cut. No, I didn't. I said something else that you interpreted that way. I know more about them because I've seen. But anyway, I will be just to be clear. This is not. It is a. I'm being defensive of the writing here. That this is not. A rich guy. Apropos of nothing else that we've been told about, just being evil guy, which I think would be a little bit more flat of the story. Yeah, there is the context that Jin is underclass of Sun and her father. He's waitstaff guy who's already got to go out of his way to try to make their relationship even happen or be accepted. He kind of becomes, mafia henchman just to be able to make that happen, paying his dues to her father and these upper class people, and he's getting pretty stressed out about it. I'll defend the writing. I'll put it that way. I'm defending the writing, not defending.
And
Jen.
She was nagging him. You were saying
no.
I
want to know at the end of this episode.
That makes sense.
Do you agree? Well, we can get to it a little bit more, but I think from this series of episodes that we watched for today, a little bit of an apology is in order on me defending Sun as the ultimate babysitter on the island.
Okay, fine. We'll get to that. I'm ready to not apologize to you for a goddamn thing. Again, it was a really big weekend for me. On the island, Jack, Kate, Charlie, and John Locke investigate the caves. Charlie steps on a beehive, which only seems to serve as an excuse for Jack and Kate to take their shirts off as they run from the bees. And here's a really cool-ass exchange. About her shirt, Kate justifies herself. Quote, "It was full of bees." Charlie says, "I would have thought C's." Nice. Damn. Awesome.
Charlie is the edgiest guy in the universe in the year 2004 with that comment.
Yeah.
Or the
smoothest. I really like
Charlie
as a character, and that's very 2004 writing, where it's like it's like quippy, but like is like super sexist or super racist, or, in that way. Have you ever seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
No.
Okay. No. There's this character Xander out there. All my Buffy heads out there know about this guy, but like he's very much like in this mold too, where like he's there for comic relief, but like to watch it 20 years on is like the kind of like jokes that he cracks. It's like, oh man, I'm having a really hard day. And he just like slur. You're like, all right, man, so chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like how that felt. Just like it was played for laughs, but it's just like super out of line.
You're not supposed to say that anymore.
You
were not really supposed to say. You're not supposed to say that back then either, but people let you. So weird. Mm-hmm. As in the guys, all the women in the show when Kate hears that, she's like, "That's not cool. You can't say that." And everybody else is like, "Not good. Sounds normal to me."
Yeah.
You got owned, Kate.
You got your ass, Kate. Frankly, your breasts aren't that big. Like, well, we don't have to talk about it like that. In the caves, the group finds 2 decomposed skeletons, one male and one female. Locke dubs them Adam and Eve. Jack finds a pouch containing 1 black stone and 1 white stone. And I'm wondering here, am I going to have to learn the rules of backgammon to watch this show? Am I going to have to like look into this and find out what the meaning is behind these? I won't, so we'll see if I get confused at some point. John Locke is the only one on the island who seems to recognize Charlie from his band Drive Shaft. He instantly clocks Charlie as an addict and tells him that if he gives up his heroin, the island will give him his guitar back. And I'm loving all of the John Locke stuff. I'm like remaining totally vindicated in my choice to leave my child with him. He's the man.
Did Lord of the Rings exist in this Lost universe? Do you think? Because this is a very major thing.
Apparently they're set on like specific days.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 2004. They say it's like 2004 or something, I think. So like Lord of the Rings came out by then.
Oh, the movies.
The movies. Sure. Not the real Lord of the Rings, but yeah. I wasn't asking if Lost is in the same universe as the universe of Lord of the Rings.
What is that? Is that the freaking Eye of Sauron over there, dude? Yeah. Well, okay. You're
Just
saying
for no reason at all, but occasionally characters bring up, when I was back in school, I remember they'd always do lessons on Sauron or whatever.
Yeah. How to escape from dragon. I mean, is your point that like he was in Lord of the Rings, so why don't they recognize him from Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
That's so funny, dude, that you're because like presumably not the rest of them aren't like first time actors either. So how come
I know, but it's just such a big. I know that you can say this about anything, but it's just such a big thing, you know.
Sure. Okay.
It's different than if it was like Robert Pattinson and
Goof.
Remember
Drive Shaft
Me.
is not a real band.
It's different if it's a movie like Remember Me or something like that, you know, a tiny thing that nobody cares about versus the Lord of the Rings, you know?
Why did you pick Remember Me as the tiny movie?
We all know why.
We all know why. Back on the beach, Jin beats the absolute shit out of Michael for no discernible reason that we can tell.
Yeah.
Sawyer and Sayid team up to subdue him and handcuff him to the plane's wreckage. Sun seeks out Michael and reveals that she can in fact speak English.
Well,
although she's hiding that from Jin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what she reveals. She just like, hey, I speak English, but she, is trying to resolve the issue.
I think I'm losing track of episodes, but like, this is also taking place. Just speaking about real world timelines, Lost takes place in 2004. And they get into this fight, Michael and Jen. And then when Sayid breaks things up, Michael says, like, where are you from? And then Sayid says that he's from Iraq. And then he says, like, then Michael says something like, well, I don't know how they do things in Iraq, but in America, Korean people don't like black people. And I was going to bring this up as like, that seems goofy, another goofy thing in 2004 where like, why in 2004 would any, like, Iraq is very high up on the list of places in the minds of, I mean, not that people know much about it, but like Michael kind of implies like Iraq is a place that nobody would have ever heard of. Like he was like, I'm from the Maldives. It's like, well, maybe you know that, but not a lot of people know anything about the Maldives. But like,
I don't know if I.
Okay, well, whatever.
I don't know if I agree with that. With that, that's like, I don't think it.
Okay,
I don't think
pick another country.
Okay. No, that's not my point.
Sure.
I don't think that. I don't that line didn't read weird in that way to me.
It didn't. Okay, well, I thought that was strange because then but then he says the Korean people don't like black people thing, which I understand. It took me a beat to remember, even though we talked about this the other day, but it still took me a beat to remember that he's obviously talking about the LA riots. And then I was thinking to myself, are the LA riots higher up in the minds of most American viewers in 2004 than Iraq is as a country? I know this is kind of an apples to oranges thing, but then Shelley reminded me that actually the LA riots they're not that far away from 2004 either. So maybe this is a fact that people would know. My main point being, if somebody made that comment in 2024, do you think that most American viewers would know what it's referencing?
No.
Yeah.
No. But then Michael later admits to Walt that that's not, or he's like, that's not true.
Yeah, he's embarrassed about it. Yeah.
He was like, I was being racist.
I'm not really talking about the in universe stuff, but just from a writing perspective, it did strike me, but I think the writing is probably vindicated that it's actually not that far. It's like 12-year difference. I think the LA riots were 1992, 2004. So Lost is closer to the LA riots than we are to Lost right now.
That's true. So yeah, son, I'm gonna try to move us through this a little bit faster here.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Son explains that Jin attacked Michael because Michael is wearing Son's father's watch, which he found in the wreckage. That's like a thing about defending his honor or something. Michael goes up to Jin with an axe and throws the watch at him. He cuts him free of the handcuffs, but tells Jin to stay away from him and Walt. At the end of the episode, Jack tries to convince the survivors to move to the caves. About half follow him, the other half staying on the beach. The episode ends with another needle drop, this time Willie Nelson's Are You Sure, as we see members of the two camps. And split amongst them are Jack and Kate. They're not hanging together.
Yeah. I want to make one more comment on this general topic I've been getting into. Hurley making a quick dash in this episode for being the most racist person on the island, passing Sawyer, I think.
I don't know. It's the Sawyer's racism was pretty strong in this ep.
What does Sawyer? Hurley keeps calling them.
I literally can't repeat it.
Okay, then maybe don't repeat it. I just remember Hurley pulls out another, calling them calling him the Chinese guy or something like that. So,
yes.
Yeah. Well, I think they should just leave everybody on the island because if they come back, they're getting canceled big time.
Yeah, for this episode, I think the racism was a bit too extreme for me to enjoy it too much. Like I just couldn't hang with it too well. I did like Michael's development this episode. Like he had previously, like up until this point, kind of been like, I don't know, not my favorite character, and like since this episode, he's, I don't know. I'm looking forward to getting his background episode. Assuming there is one, but I don't know. I think he played a good role in this, and the guy who plays him, the actor, I can't Pierno, something like that. But,
yes, it's like a French name. He's not.
Yeah,
French,
it's kind of a French. Yeah, he like actor's doing a great job.
Yeah.
I'm getting into the rhythm of the show. I really did not care for the tension between Jack and Kate. Like, or like it's not real tension. Like Jack is just drew a swag. Like if I was checking you out, you'd know what is that supposed to mean?
Yeah,
that was like such a weird threat. Like it's the same. It said in the same way. That's like if I was here to kill you, you'd already be dead. Like if I was checking you out, you'd know it. It's like I don't know, gross. But yeah. Anyway, I've got John Locke thoughts that I will repeat, or I will give in my in the next episode, I think, because it's more John Locke focused.
Yeah.
But I did have them after this episode 6.
I'm
gonna give this a 3 out of 5. This episode.
Yeah, I'm giving I'm giving these 3s. Okay. We're all 3s for me still. I have one note from this episode, so I'm going to ask it now. That's John Locke related. It came to mind. Did they eat the polar bear or not?
They've only talked about eating boar.
The boar. And I'm just wondering why.
They talked about shooting the bear.
They shot the bear.
Why not?
Why wouldn't you eat the polar bear?
RFK Jr. over here. He's trying to eat that freaking bear.
Yeah. That's probably the bigger lost parallel to the last week in the United States.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Okay. Well, we can't ignore this segue, but like connecting to real world events and presidential elections. This next episode, season 1, episode 7, The Moth, air date November 3rd, 2004, the day after the presidential election where George Bush won a second term over John Kerry. Please consider Sawyer's racism during this time, I think specifically, if you're going to be thinking about George Bush, I guess. This one's directed by Jack Bender.
Yeah. All the people on the island are like, damn, I'm glad. I wonder who won the election. Well, let's just decide amongst ourselves. It was George W. Bush who won.
Mm-hmm.
So that we can proceed.
Really, the whole Lost Island situation was voter suppression. I think it was they took out all of the John Kerry voters. Yeah, that were gonna win in this way. I remember 2000. No, it was the 2000 election that like our kindergarten class did an election, which that seems like you wouldn't probably do that anymore.
I remember in kindergarten we did, or kindergarten second grade. No, yeah, second grade when George Bush won.
That one did go to the first grade Supreme Court to decide.
We did a mock election thing, and my parents didn't really talk about politics at home, and I just remember lining up, and there's this girl in front of me, and I don't think they gave us any ideas about like what to do. They just wanted you to kind of go through the process and pick one of these two guys in the little voter booth that they set up. Really don't know what the point of it was. But this girl in front of me, she said, my dad says that we need to vote for George Bush because who even was the other guy in 2000?
In kindergarten?
2000? Yeah.
Yeah, Al Gore.
Al Gore. She said, I guess Al Gore wants to take his guns away. And I was like, damn, I guess I should vote for George Bush then, because I don't know anything about either of these guys, but I've just heard a negative thing about this Al Gore guy. Not that I
presented as if like I think that you're making that sound like it's a negative. I don't really have a take on that.
We did not have guns. We didn't shoot or anything like that. I just was like, damn, this guy is just trying to take away this girl's dad's
don't want that.
Guns. That's bad. It sounds bad.
Yeah. Well, this is The Moth. This is definitely my favorite episode so far. Charlie begins a painful withdrawal from drugs, assisted by John Locke. Jack is buried in a cave collapse, and the other survivors struggle to find and free him. Sayid, Kate, and Boone concoct a plan to find the source of the French transmission. That's kind of the overview. But in a flashback here at the beginning, we see Charlie. It's the Charlie backstory. He's in a church telling a priest that he's going to quit his band Drive Shaft because it has a bad influence on him. His brother Liam shows up to church in a shirt that says "Music Slut" to tell Charlie that the band landed a recording contract and reassures him that they can quit anytime it gets to be too much. Yeah. It instantly becomes too much. Liam hogs the spotlight, steals the chorus of "All You Everybody," I guess that's all, and does heroin with groupies in a very funny.
It doesn't really sound, the song, when they reference it in the first few episodes, it sounds like he's saying like, "Come on, everybody."
Yeah,
but the song, the real song is "All You Everybody," which is what? That's your song that you got a record deal on?
That's an English
it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
"All you everybody." Yeah.
"Oh yeah, everybody." Yeah. Liam tells Charlie that he says, "I am Drive Shaft." Nobody knows who Charlie is. He's just the bass player. And this makes Charlie decide to use heroin. Years later, Charlie visits Liam's house in Australia to try to convince him to rejoin Drive Shaft for a comeback tour. Liam declines and Charlie leaves, saying that he has a plane to catch. And us, the audience, knows.
Damn.
That means he's going to hit the island. On the island, Charlie is suffering from heroin withdrawal since he gave his remaining stash to John Locke. Locke says he'll give Charlie the drugs back the third time he asks because he wants Charlie to have the choice to quit. I think that's cool.
Yes. Shelley remarked to me, he's kind of giving me God vibes. Locke.
He's serving God.
I'll give you. You can ask me for it 3 times, and on the 3rd time I'll give it to you. Which, biblical thing. But
sounds like she's a listener of the podcast. Yeah,
maybe God vibes.
Mm-hmm. Jack and Charlie get into a withdrawal-fueled argument in a cave, which causes it to collapse. Charlie escapes, but Jack is trapped inside. Michael is apparently a construction worker and leads the rescue attempt. Or his construction background. I can't remember what he says, but...
Yeah. He worked in construction.
He worked in construction. Thank you. Charlie asks Locke for his drugs back a second time. Locke whips out the moth metaphor, saying that he could help a moth exit its cocoon by cutting it open, but it would be too weak to survive on its own. Charlie needs to find the strength to fight through his suffering on his own.
More God vibes with that description.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Sayid, Kate, Sawyer, and Boone split up to try to triangulate the source of the French transmission. Kate abandons the mission when Sawyer reveals what happened to Jack. She freaks out and digs frantically trying to get to him. Charlie,
Boone,
this is kind of intertwined.
Boone had abandoned too, and I
also abandoned
that stuff. I gotta say, that stuff pisses me off because I'm very pro Sayid over here, and I'm like, damn, people stick to the plan.
We're trying to fucking
When you find someone who's you got to do CPR or something, you say you point at somebody else. You say, you call 911, get an AED, but you don't say, you take over this shit right here. I got to go tend to something else,
Yeah.
You had already been delegated to do this thing. Don't give up. You tell Shannon or whoever to go do this other stuff.
30 other randos on the beach to do something. Like,
Boone is...
You take care of the thing that you're doing right now.
Yeah. Boone is running after shiny stuff.
Especially when it's like... It seems pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're Kate, same thing.
And
what the heck? You don't know that you know this guy for a couple days. I don't like your situation with him anyway. But chill. You gotta make it through this commitment that you've already made. That's much more important, dude. Much more important.
But weirdly enough, it's I mean, Kate's signal gets set off by Sawyer. Boone's signal gets set off by Shannon. Those two are fine. And it is Sayid who ends up being, I mean, not through his fault, but he gets knocked out there at the end.
Well, he sets off his thing, and then it's working, and then he gets whacked.
It ends up being unsuccessful, regardless.
Yeah.
Charlie volunteers himself to crawl through an opening in the cave to reach Jack. He has this whole, nobody likes me thing going on throughout the episode.
Yeah. I'm a loser that nobody needs me. I'm the bassist I'm the bass player of life.
Mm-hmm. He sets the groove on the island. But he goes through the opening at the cave to reach Jack, and once inside, it collapses further, and they are both trapped. Charlie sees a moth, which leads him to an opening, and the pair dig out of the cave. So like we said...
Shelley did also remark here that once Charlie got into the cave and he got really dirty, she was like, oh, now I can see it. He really does look like he's in the Lord of the Rings. Which I think is true. He's easier to identify as a hobbit when he's covered in mud. But when
she couldn't tell that was the same guy?
No.
Until then?
No. She was like, oh, now I get it. Now I get it. I mean, intellectually understood, but when she saw him dirty, she's like, okay, that's the Hobbit. Yeah. I believe
you two are so funny. Like your brains. I swear to God.
Yeah. When they emerge, by the way, when Charlie finds the way out, like you just said, then they emerge and they walk up behind everybody else like, yo, psych, we found our own way out. They are very clean, I gotta say. Cinema Sin.
What happened?
Cinema Sins number 10.
Oh.
Or whatever.
No, I think that
they're way too clean.
They were reborn. They emerged from the chrysalis, emerged from the cocoon, brighter and more beautiful than before.
I guess so.
It's actually thematic. Yeah, the Sayid sets off his bottle rocket to signal the antenna power up process or whatever that was. Shannon sets off Boom's rocket and Sawyer launches Kate's. Sayid turns on the transceiver but is knocked unconscious by someone unseen. Later, the survivors hang out around the fire. Charlie goes to Locke for a third time and asks for his heroin. He takes it and tosses it into the fire. Locke tells Charlie he's proud of him, and the two see a moth flying away. Yeah, this is a great episode. I loved it. I think it's really funny that Charlie is an insanely shitty guitar player. Like at the beginning of the episode, jamming out on that. I have some thoughts about John Locke. I said in the last episode that it's weird to have a character named John Locke, and he's the mystic of the group because the John Locke the philosopher was a famous empiricist.
Yep.
And so for an empiricist, all knowledge is gained almost scientifically, like measuring and perceiving physical phenomena. You'd think that would make him like a Neil deGrasse Tyson type, but I think that this is a much more interesting move. What happens when a literal textbook empiricist experiences an unambiguous miracle? The honest empiricist, like John Locke, will take that information and incorporate into his knowledge of the world. Like, be like, yeah, well, this is just how the world works. This is what happened, and it would be the scientist who would be, foolishly clinging to physically explainable phenomena, and yeah, I'm just really digging John Locke's whole thing. He's immediately just like, this is what I was born for. Like he wasn't like, I don't know. They kind of like paint him to be like an unsuccessful, pitiable cubicle rube back on land or back in real life, but here he's like totally comfortable, like throwing knives, hunting and guiding people, mentoring Charlie through his withdrawal. He's kind of thriving, which was kind of interesting. I thought in this next episode, Confidence Man, John Locke brings up like, think of who's profiting the most or who's like doing the best in the situation. He suggests that Sawyer is responsible for the issues and happening in the next episode. But I think if you take stock of the situation, there I think are two other characters who are unambiguously doing a lot better on the island than they were maybe in the previous lives, one of them being John Locke himself. But yeah.
And who's the other?
Moth episode.
Who's the other?
I think Jack. I think
Jack's doing better.
Yeah. Although we don't really know what his life is actually like. We just know that he doesn't like his parents. His parents don't like him. But yeah.
It's because you don't know his last name yet. Do we know his last name yet?
I think so. Shepard.
Oh yeah. Forgot. Damn. I can't tell you then. Okay.
Yeah, I think my theory about Jack is still that like he is like not actually a doctor.
Yeah. He's a skeleton that lives in Halloween Town.
Okay.
Jack Skellington. You're not familiar with Jack? Haven't you realized that everybody on the island is named after a famous person? Jack Skellington, Kate Winslet, John Locke.
Do we know Kate's last name?
Michael Shannon.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't remember. Nice. Hurley, the guy that's named after the
Hurley Gurleyman,
the future Weezer album. Whatever.
All right, episode 8, Confidence Man. Air date November 10th, 2004, directed by Tucker Gates. When Shannon suffers an asthma attack, Jack and Sayid resort to brutality to convince Sawyer to share the life-saving medicine he is hoarding. Sun struggles to decide whether to follow her husband's directive to stay out of the affairs of others. It's apparently how this was summarized, but we'll get some Sawyer backstory and flashbacks up top. The details aren't really that important, hopefully, but we basically learn that he's a devilishly handsome con man, and he looks good in his suit. He's pulling it off.
Sounds like the actor is, what's the actor's name? He's sounds like he's probably been editing that into the Wikipedia page. Devilishly handsome.
I'm writing these now.
Citation needed.
This has been
no citation needed. Actually, he is the devilishly handsome con man.
Discussion locked after 400 pages.
Yeah.
He's about to pull a con on a woman and her husband, but calls it off when he sees their young son leaving the cash in the briefcase behind.
Yeah. He's got a good con. It's a common con. I gotta say, I see lots of young
he pulls it off.
Fellow consters doing these cons. He does the old, oops, you weren't supposed to see the money. Oh yeah, I just need some investment, but I don't want you to be involved in this. No, I don't need you. And then you get the other person to con themselves, play themselves. Oh, I want to be part of this. No, you don't. I want to be part of it.
No, you know what? This was a bad idea. Let's call it off. He pulls that a couple times.
And then Jack sees
two very effective results.
And then he sees their son. And because I'm a true detective here, and as I'm watching the show, I'm thinking to myself, what could cause this? Maybe the most Occam's razor here is that this young child is an undercover FBI agent who Sawyer recognizes is an elite operative and will have caught him if he goes forward. That's my understanding of what happened there.
Mm-hmm. I think that's true. On the island, Sayid returns. He failed to triangulate the distress signal and doesn't know who knocked him out. Shannon suffers an asthma attack, and the survivors become convinced that Sawyer is hoarding her inhalers. Everybody walks up to... So I know that Sawyer's, like, super racist. And, like, he's, like, being as, like... And, like, he's, like, just sexually harassing Shannon and Kate, whatever. So I don't mean to defend those aspects of him. But everybody has such, like, a whack attitude to him. They come up and just, like, automatically treat him like he's going to be a piece of shit. And so we just kind of, to me, it seems like that's just how he reflexively responds, is like he's willing to, he's not interested in like trying to correct that image of himself. And so like at no point does anyone be like, hey man, here's the situation. Did you see that Shannon is having an asthma attack? Do you know where the inhalers are? It's always just like coming strong, like, you piece of crap, you're holding back the inhalers and she needs it. How can you live with yourself? And yeah, as we find out later in the episode, he doesn't have the inhalers, but I can absolutely like, I would feel really like pissed off if someone just assumed that of me. And like we just have that happen with the water like 2 episodes ago. Nobody learned their lesson here about assuming that he's doing that. He's like holding on to like trinkets and stuff. He's doing like just cigarettes and stuff. He's not doing like hoarding medicine. I can't hear you.
Hello?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. They said he was reading Watership Down. Are you familiar with Watership Down?
Yeah, the rabbit book.
Yeah, it's a rabbit book. this guy's got a heart of a child. I guess I don't know. I was gonna say gold, but not a gold. He's a
heart of a racist child. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a book about rabbits.
Mm-hmm. Jack and Sayid kidnap Sawyer and torture him, just like assuming that he's got the inhalers. So the summary of the episode is that like Jackie and Sayid kidnap him and Sayid tortures him, but like Jack
does it too.
Equally complicit in this.
Yeah.
There's this thing that the show seems to like pretend that Jack somehow wasn't like directly responsible for his torturing.
Yeah.
There, that I thought was kind of weird. Like at the end, like Saeed's going through this like reckoning with himself, like Jesus Christ, I'd like snapped and I like tortured some guy. I need to like exile myself. And Jack is like, he still feels morally superior to Sawyer at the end because like Sawyer woke up and was mean to him, and at no point does Jack like reckon with what he's
big time doctor, real world doctor move to do that kind of stuff, to be like, damn, why is everybody so evil around me? Why is the world so fucked up? Nobody cares about anyone. Only I do as a doctor.
Only me. By the way, go ahead and torture this guy. Yeah. So Sawyer finally agrees throughout the torture process. He agrees to give up the inhalers, but only if Kate kisses him. And I gotta say, well, the chemistry between Sawyer and Kate is like a million times more palpable than Kate and Jack. So like whatever this love triangle thing they're trying to set up is just like not believable. Not that like I think that they should get together or anything, but
I don't know about the I mean, I agree that they've got Jack and Kate have very bad chemistry. I don't know if I'm going to agree with you on Kate and Sawyer's being any better, because it's mostly based on Sawyer being, inappropriate. What's the word for it? Very sexually aggressive. Oh, that's the word you want to use? Okay, you heard it from Will.
Yeah,
not my word. I would say it's a bad thing, but Will, I guess, calls it cool.
He has Riz. Sawyer's got Riz.
It's been very it's uncomfortable to watch him, because
definitely that. Yeah, I guess thanks for clarifying, because that's not what I'm trying to say.
Sounded like it. You were.
Like Kate didn't need to like kiss him that passionately, and like she like makes out with him.
Now you're doing the victim blaming, but okay, I can expect that from the
I'm
pro Sawyer guy.
I think we're supposed to see textually in it that like the characters find themselves like surprisingly, like she's like surprised by like, oh, I actually kind of do have the hots for him here.
Yeah, which I will say now, in whatever the opposite of defenses of the writing, this is a little weird. That seems,
obviously it's weird. It's not what you're not supposed to. It's
people
not
say
weird.
people
but I think
call it
on top of that, the actors to like click better is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say this is how kids. This is how you get a girl.
No, I know. I'm just saying that it is. That's also very not a. I don't know if it's 2004 writing, but not of this time writing of like, yeah, you thought that Sawyer was really sexist all the time, but actually Kate's kind of into that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like it doesn't like there's a little bit of like 2004ing that you're hand waving a bit to follow, just to follow like the text of it or whatever. If you're supposed to, that would be different than if it was airing today.
But it's kind of like we're kind of going 1936ing it as well, like like Cary Grant or Humphrey Bogart treat the main woman in the story like shit, like kidnap them, and then like force a kiss, and then they're like, damn, I love this guy. This guy's fucking awesome, even though he kidnapped me and he killed my husband and he's been a jerk to me the entire time. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. But we also, yeah. But that is kind of what's happening a little bit. Yeah, where Kate's just kind of into it, I guess.
Yeah.
So after they kiss, Sawyer says he never had the inhalers, and Sayid is enraged, attacks Sawyer and stabs him with his knife. Jack stops the bleeding, but Sawyer passes out. The next day, Sawyer wakes up, and Kate tells him, like, he's got a like bandage on his arm, and Kate tells him she knows that the letter he carries with him isn't a letter to him, but written by him when Sawyer was a child. His real name isn't Sawyer, and I just wrote here, I'm not really sure, but he's going through psychology. He's having psychology happen to him, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sayid decides to explore the island and remove himself from the group, needing to come to terms with his actions torturing Sawyer. And apparently Jack feels no remorse at all for his actions and is still shitty to Sawyer. He's doesn't like apologize, but like, dude, I'm so sorry. I got like caught up in the moment. This woman was dying, and I just like, I thought you had the inhalers. You didn't deny it, and like I was wrong for that. Like, I'm so sorry. I had you wrong. But he's still like, change your own bandage. Get out of there.
Yeah. Jack would be a good politician in his little universe of like
never admit wrongdoing.
Just set up a terrible situation. Sayid, I need you to come do some torture. I need to go help me go waterboard this dude, and then it happens, and then Jack being like, why is the world so bad? How could this have happened? Sayid, I guess get the fuck out of here. You really messed up, and then also Sawyer, you're a piece of shit too. But I'm fine.
You got really quiet there for a minute. I don't know if the platform is being weird or just sure you're staying on mic. I don't know, but yeah, totally agree. In this episode, oh wait, one last thing here. Crucially, Sun saves Shannon by making a eucalyptus salve. She decides to intervene, and meanwhile, Charlie convinces Claire to move to the caves by doing some peanut butter improv work. It was weird.
Gotta say, it doesn't work. That wouldn't work on me. Charlie, don't try that smooth move on me. It won't work at all. I'd just be, why haven't you given me any peanut butter? This is a dumb joke. I'm not moving off this beach for that.
Are you touching the switch on the back of your mic? It like, can you say something?
Hello?
Okay, that sounds good. Sorry, it gets getting like really soft and then really loud.
Oh,
I hope it's not reset. Okay, yeah, you sound good there. You sound clear. Sorry. Boone truly has 0 IQ. He's probably my least favorite character so far.
Yeah, Boone and Shannon, get out of here, dude.
And the other stray observation I had is that, like, in Sawyer's flashback, when he sees that little kid walk into the room, that kid has such a funny look. Like, no offense to that actor, but he looks like a fucking alien, dude. Like, it's crazy. What a bad look.
Yeah.
I'll go ask kid.
Who was the dad? He looks very familiar, and I forgot to look it up. Also, the guy,
I don't know.
Sawyer's boss is an actor. The guy, like Sawyer's like mob boss guy, is the guy from
whose money it is.
Yeah, the Ari Aster, The Strange Thing About the Johnsons, I think.
Really?
A possible Ben fact or misdirection once again.
So take that for what it's worth. Yeah, this is getting a 3 out of 5 for me.
No surprise, I'll give it a 3 again, but I would put it on the higher end of a 3.
Yeah, the racism was less in this, at least. But I don't know. Jack's behavior brought this down for me. All right. Last episode to talk about, season 1, episode 9, Solitary. Sayid's backstory. Air date November 17th, 2004. Directed by Greg Yaitanes. Yaitanes? I don't know. Sayid's life is in danger after he discovers the source of the mysterious French transmission. Hurley concocts a plan to bring civility to the island. A very like wild swinging A and B plot in this. Sayid is having a Kramer subplot in this, I guess. We get flashbacks. We see Sayid in his role in the Iraq Republican Guard. He's ordered to torture a woman he realizes is his childhood friend.
Yeah.
Eventually, he's ordered to execute her, and instead he shoots his commanding officer and stages her escape, freeing her as he shoots himself in the leg, or telling her how to be freed.
They make minus the end, which is more badass, but the beginning they kind of make him into like, oh yeah, this is the soy guy. This is the soy interrogator that we have in the Republican Guard. He's like kind of timid, like I just want to do my work well and get promotions here. I'm just a company man here in the army, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah,
boss. I'll keep calling you sir. I'll keep calling my best friend sir because he's my boss and I respect that.
Which I have been meaning to ask you that if you could
switch back.
If you could do that, please.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna implement that on the podcast again. So on the island, Sayid follows a cable running out of the ocean into the jungle. That was cool. That's a cool visual or concept. There's just like this big cable. He's caught in a trap. A mysterious French woman ties him to a bed in a bunker. She asks him where Alex is. Sayid tells her about the plane crash and the other survivors, but she doesn't believe him. She continues to torture him, like shocking him with a battery or something. She identifies herself as Danielle Rousseau, the woman who sent out the transmission. Or I guess we understand that to be the case. I don't know if she says that's my transmission or not, but that's how we understand. Back at the camp, Jack treats a random hypochondriac guy named Sullivan, and John Locke picks up a rando of his own named Ethan. I thought that was kind of funny. That here's some guys.
Yep.
Hurley sets up a golf course and eventually gathers about 20 people to play. At some point, somebody says like, they keep saying that like he built a golf course, and like Hurley, you built a golf course, and like. No, he found some golf clubs and put a flag over there, right? Like
he put the only work was he.
What did you think?
Dug two holes. I think he only made 2 holes. Dug 2 holes.
Yeah, I don't mean to diminish Hurley at all here because like he's the man and like it seems like a good idea to have a golf course. I think it's just like weird to say. Like, it's like, hey, man, I found a basketball. Want to go shoot hoops? And they're like, you built a basketball court? No.
Yeah.
What do you think is going on here? You found this island over here? No, I didn't. Back in the bunker, Rousseau reveals to Sayid that she was a part of a science team, and they were shipwrecked on the island for about 3 days after leaving Tahiti. She says the others were carriers of the sickness that her companions caught, and that the others whisper in the jungle. Sayid escapes the bunker while Rousseau investigates a growl outside. They have a standoff in the jungle, and Sayid tries to shoot her, but Rousseau had previously sabotaged the gun. She tells him that she killed her team, aiming to stop the disease from reaching the outside world. Rousseau lets Sayid return to his camp, revealing Alex was her child. On his way back, Sayid hears the whispers Rousseau told him about.
Yep.
So we get some more, I guess technically more information about the island, but like nothing is revealed. There's no, like, we're no closer to the truth, I guess is maybe the way to put it.
But you're seeing things.
More mystery.
I love when you see my favorite moment of the entire series so far. I've got 2, and they both came from this series of episodes we watched today. One is Sayid getting whacked over the head a couple episodes back. And then 2 is when Sayid finds the wire, the cable on the beach.
Very cool.
Into the ocean. I think that's a very good moment where I'm like, damn, let's do some detective work. I think this show's going to go on for quite a while longer now. We continue to find more mysteries than we solve them.
Mm-hmm. Raises more questions than answers, you might say. I like seeing the day to day of the island life, like sleeping, hanging out. Michael making the aqueduct. Michael is a pretty bad dad in this episode, and like when they're like golfing, Michael's like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry, Walt. Like I've not been hanging out with you. Like I'll totally make it up to you." And they're like, "All right, Michael, you're up." And instead of like letting Walt take the shot, he's like, "All right, hang back and I watch this drive." he goes out to the golf ball. Thought that was pretty obvious opportunity to score points with your kid. But also, what is the it seems like maybe the writers or something like how is this golf game working? It's like everybody's just taking turns. Let me guess, it would make sense. It's not like a real like full course or anything that you're not like playing a round of golf. You're kind of just like taking turns, just like teeing off or something, like kind of at a driving range or something.
Well, I think
but then there's somehow this thing at the end where like, oh, it's Jack. Jack is maybe about to beat Charlie, and then everybody starts putting bets on for or against him. And did we see
Sawyer shows
how
up?
That worked? Sawyer shows up.
Sawyer shows up and places a bet, and everybody's like, "Damn, he's betting with us. I guess he wants to be part of our little colony of people." Versus me, I'd be, your money's no good here. You've been canceled.
Well, he bets.
We have a code of conduct for our
two
betting.
Tubes of. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. He bets two tubes of sunscreen and a flashlight against the dock. And do we see does Jack make the shot or something happen to stop them from?
Don't remember. Actually, I don't remember. Because then we go see Locke hanging out in the jungle with child Michael tossing knives.
Tossing knives. Yeah, being cool.
True. But we've also seen in this series Son, best Jack at a medical situation and heal a woman in need. So I gotta say, my main takeaway from the last 4 episodes is that I am owed an apology because I think Son is a very capable, and also to you has now been revealed finally as capable English speaker as well.
You knew that. You can't just.
Yeah, I knew that, but I still would.
No,
I still, even if she didn't speak English, she's healing people.
That's still crazy.
She's still healing people.
No.
Locke,
that still happened in the future too.
Locke,
we didn't know.
Locke is throwing. Well, I'm just saying that over time, I'm going to become more and more vindicated. I think
that doesn't count. You can't use your future knowledge of the show to say that. Like, oh
no, I'm just saying.
Locke dies next episode, so he'll be a pretty bad dad because he's dead.
I'm not.
Aren't I right?
I'm not.
That's what you're saying.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing that.
Dads who die are bad fathers.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that as time goes on, you will see that my intuition, based on the first episode,
shut the fuck up.
It's very good.
No, I'm still right.
Locke gives knives to a child.
So crazy. They're on an island. They have to survive. Do you not aware of the situation? He's not going to hand him a kid, bop it. Those things. Let's.
Well, he could say to him, "This is not the time for you to be learning how to throw knives." Maybe after we're stuck here for a
couple
couple
months.
It is
time for him to learn how to throw knives. This island, we're on the island.
They're on the island. They're only like 10. They're like 9 days in or something now. That's not that long.
Oh, I would love to learn how to throw a knife before I needed to throw a knife in an important situation.
Maybe do it around your dad too. You know, that's what I would say. You should get, rather than a guy in a jungle with a kid being
What's gonna happen?
Let's throw some knives.
What's gonna happen? They're still his knives. He didn't like let him keep a knife.
I will, in favor of Locke, I will say that, you know, you could make the argument that Locke has great intuition for the island, right? He's the mystic so far.
Yeah.
But as a parent, I don't know if I want to leave my kid, you know, as an observer, you might say, oh, that's a good reason to leave it with Locke. But as a parent, I'm still thinking, I don't know if I want to leave my kid with any mystics. You know, they might do weird stuff. This is like kind of cult leader type personality. He might start saying, you know, we should actually teach your son how to shoot guns. And actually he should become my my child sidekick or something like that. I don't want to put my kid in that situation.
At no point is Locke like jonesing to hang out with the child. He's a reluctant mentor, but he'll be there for support. It takes a village, Ben. Locke is being a great role model. At no point is he being inappropriate, and I remain vindicated here. Next week, we'll be watching season 1, episodes 10, 11, 12, and 13. These are titled Raised by Another, All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues, whatever the case may be, and Hearts and Minds. So watch full episodes of this podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to us on patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. Email the show, drskeletonsartschool@gmail.com. Thanks for listening to the show. Let's dip into the mailbag here. As you know, as we both know, it's been a really big week for me, and so let's see what the people have been saying. We're seeing letters come in from the fans. They're saying, great episode, happy birthday, great episode. Awesome.
Is it really your birthday?
Well, oh, thanks, Ben.
Happy birthday.
Well, thanks. Thanks for remembering.
Happy birthday. Very big happy birthday.
Yeah. Check us out over on patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. And catch us next week when we watch, again, season 1, episodes 10, 11, 12, and 13.